You see, I had this teacher in high school. His name was Mr. Wright, one of the best teachers ever, and you will hear me reference him a lot. You know, he passed away and I was extremely broken by that, but he left a lot of jewels with me before he departed this world. And one thing I learned from him was about a bald eagle. You know, I was an advertising art major at McKinley High School in Buffalo, New York, and I had to get into this high school by doing an art test. Yes, I have artistic abilities. Clearly, I love to create. Allow my creative freedom to just flow, right? So I used to draw and be able to paint a little bit and sketch, and had to take a test to get into the school. So I got into the school, and this gentleman was my teacher, Mr. Wright. And Mr. Wright will always draw bald eagles. No matter what it was, if we had to shade, he would make sure that he taught us how to shade drawing bald eagles. That was his choice. If we had to do a pointillism project, you know, he made sure that it was a pointillism project for him, and he would show us bald eagles. And so I began to really be intrigued and be interested in bald eagles, and I just couldn't understand why he loved them so much. And he would give us history lessons on them. And I realized something about an eagle. Okay, an eagle is a particular bird that flies high. This bird is a wanted bird. This bird is a bird that is esteemed to the highest of heights. You can see it in so many different areas when it comes to the United States. This bird is a bird that's seen to fly and flap at his own pace, but it's always high and only comes low to swoop in to grab its prey. And this particular bird is a bird that flies alone, not because he wants to be by himself, but because only birds of a feather flock together, right? And so when I thought about this, you know, I had to really think about the question, which is, what kind of bird are you? You know, I think about the song that they just recently put out, Good Morning to You. The birds are chirping. Yes, that song, okay? And so with this song, it's really a great beat, okay? It's definitely hilarious, and it goes into a whole nother lyrics, but this song, it just makes me think hard. What kind of bird are you? So if you think about the birds that you see in your community, and I really just stood there after a while and just really started analyzing the birds I encounter on a regular day basis, I started comparing myself. How weird is that? You know, in the area when I talk to my high school students, and they're like, she's a bird, like, which is a word that is labeling someone as being ratchet or ghetto, right? She's a bird. She's a bird head. You know, we say chicken head. You know, we say pigeons. And when we speak of pigeons, I'm going to talk about that bird, okay? So when you ask yourself the question, what kind of bird are you? Ask yourself the question, what kind of bird am I? Well, I'm going to help you. So when I got a chance to intern in New York City at BET, I did actually 2 summers in BET and then also CNN. While I was interning at CNN and BET one summer, I had a chance to actually purchase food. I said that because most of the time I was always broke and couldn't afford to buy anything to eat, and I lived off of a Caesar size salad from Wendy's and ice cold water. So that was about $1.29, but now it has gone up. But nonetheless, I would eat that, and I would go to Central Park and I would sit and eat, right? And so when I would sit down, it was always a bunch of pigeons in the area. So the moment you begin to open up your food, and the moment you begin to really about to get into your food, these birds start coming around your table. And I'm just like, what the freak is wrong with these birds? Like, you already know New York City pigeons are just rude anyway, okay? They chilling all the time and pooping all the time. But for whatever reason, I couldn't understand for the life of me, why are you, being a bird, coming near me and wanting to be close? And then I got it. I had an epiphany. A light went off. I had an aha moment. And I realized that these pigeons were sitting around and waiting for my crumbs to fall after I got done eating. And so on this particular day, I had a sub from Subway, which is right next door to Pinkberry, across from CNN. And I say all that because, yes, I love me some Pinkberry. But nonetheless, I opened up my sub and began to eat, and some crumbs were dropping, and I just saw the birds flying to them. And I had on sandals. I'm just like, oh my God, they're going to peck out my feet. So I had to move. But the more I moved, they continued to follow me. And I was beginning to be annoyed. Okay? And so I realized, like I said, the birds wanted my crumbs. These pigeons wanted my crumbs. And then I looked at one bird, and it had like a small wobble to him. I couldn't understand, like, why is this bird wobbling? And it had a nub for a foot. It didn't have the other little fingertips, the fingernails around the nub. It was missing its toes and it had a nub, so it had a limp. And I just thought to myself, if this bird would have continued to not even continue, if this bird would have just chosen to fly instead of walking, trying to get my crumbs, just maybe this bird would not be missing no toes. So I kept that in the back of my head. The pigeons were after my crumbs, okay? Yes, they were after my crumbs, and it was nothing but a whole bunch of pigeons. So then I started thinking about more birds. I started thinking about the seagulls, right? The seagulls, those white birds that you normally find in the parking lots of Walmart, the parking lots of the mall, these annoying birds that will tear up your car with all their poop droppings, right? And the only time you really see these birds all around is when there was food thrown into the parking lot. And again, these birds were waiting around for the leftovers of others or the droppings of others of food to swoop in and grab it. And I remember a couple times seeing them fighting over some food left in the parking lot. How annoying is that? So then I'll say the cousins of these seagulls are crows, right? And so the crows are just as annoying. I'll be in my bed asleep. Some of them would be like in the tree. You hear caw, 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 the whole time. Like, oh my gosh, shut up. Right? So then you come out the house and you'll see them. And it was a dead squirrel. I remember seeing a dead squirrel. And I remember seeing these crows swoop in to get these dead squirrels. And it began to be like a whole clan of them. A whole, not a school, but a whole bunch of these birds swooping in to eat at this dead squirrel. And I just began to think again. This was a dead squirrel that these crows were attacking, right? And so I just started thinking, and I thought back again to the eagle. I've never seen an eagle attacking a dead squirrel. I've never seen an eagle swooping in to pick up leftovers from a parking lot. And I've never seen an eagle sitting at my feet trying to get the crumbs of my food. So I began to ask myself a question again as I thought about all of this. What kind of bird are you? So as I broke it down, I began to look and I said, you know what? The pigeons are exactly just that. The pigeons are people who only want to stick around to get the droppings, to get the leftovers, to get the crumbs of the work that you put in. They want to sit around and wait for you to drop something for them and continue to not spread their own wings and fly, but they want to just be at your feet and wait for you to hand them something that they didn't work for, right? So then we think about the seagulls only want to grab the leftovers of what you have. And once you walk away from it and doing all the work to get it, they're going to swoop in and peck at it and argue about whose it is when it's really not none of theirs. You put the work in to get that, but they want what you have. So they wait for you to leave it, or they wait for you to drop it or set it to the side. They swoop in and attack it. Or even the crows. Dead things left over, they're going to attack. They're not looking to get their own, and they're not looking to prey on their own things. They're looking for the things left, right? But that ego. You see, an ego is not looking for nothing left over. An ego is not sitting at your feet. An ego is not waiting for you to give them crumbs or anything. An ego is looking and identifying its prey and is going to swoop in and grab it and get it and swoop right back up. You see, if you pay attention to the birds, you would never see an eagle hanging with a pigeon. You would never see a pigeon hanging with a crow. You would never see a crow hanging with a seagull. The truth is, birds of a feather flock together. And that applies the very same way in life. Ask yourself the question, what kind of bird are you? I had to ask my own self that. You see, you are a reflection of the company you keep, no matter how you think you're going to spin it, no matter what you think the scenario is. At the end of the day, the people you hang with are a reflection of you. Birds of a feather, baby, flock together. Whether you are a pigeon or you a seagull. I want you to get that. And so I need you to again ask the question, what kind of bird are you? Are you a bird that's independent? And are you a bird that has the ability to play well with others, but a bird that's focused on getting it? Because go-getters are always on the move, trying to make it happen and to attack and grab what they need to get. And when they come down low, they're only grabbing to get what they need to do and go back up and finish the business. Now that's an ego. You see, you don't want to be a pigeon. You don't want to be a crow. You don't want to be a seagull. You want to be a leader. An ego is a leader. An ego is a rare bird. Not likely seen all the time because they're doing their business. Can't be caught because they get in and they get out. And guess what? They're always spreading their wings. And I'm telling you, baby, the wingspan on these birds is something serious. And that is the kind of wingspan that you want to have, the kind of touch and the kind of reach that you want to have when it comes to you achieving your dreams and your goals. You don't want the leftovers of others. You don't want to have to pry and beg for anybody else's dream, but you want to understand that you were created to be your own kind of bird. You're created with a distinction. You were created with a leadership in you for you to lead as well. So ask yourself, what kind of bird are you? Because birds of a feather flock together. Check the birds you rolling with and understand that sometimes being the ego, that means you have to stand alone. Yeah. I didn't mean to get a little preachy on that. I hope not. But it really just hit me hard whenever I would think about Mr. Right and I would think about his ego scenario. It's a rarity to be an ego. So decide this day to make sure that whatever you want, you're going to go and get it. You're not going to wait for someone to give it to you. You're not going to wait to pick up the crumbs of others. You're not going to wait to just say, hey, can you hand me this? But you are going to be an ego and you're going to go get what you want in your life, because guess what? You can have it. The G Code is kicking off, of course, officially in August. And you won't just be getting me speaking and dropping the jewels or giving you my codes to success. But guess what? I'm going to have power-packed people who's going to be dropping you jewels and giving you their codes to success and showing you exactly how you can make it happen, because what? They made it happen. So again, as I say each and every time, welcome to the G Code. I appreciate you for checking in. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribing to the podcast. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at all things ADRI.V, the Go Getta. A to the D, R to the I-V, THEGOGETTA. Stay connected with me as I try to stay connected with you. And kicking off in August officially, you'll get a whirlwind of people who's definitely putting that work and who definitely have some G codes to help you to unlock your success. Welcome to the G Code.